You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's The Bachelorette After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Bachelorette After Show.
All right, happy time, people. We all know that Bing is for doing, and we are doing another after show for AfterBuzz TV. Listen to the music. You can feel it. The love is in the studio. I just met you.
And this is crazy.
But here's my number.
So call me maybe.
It's Bachelor time, guys. The ladies are here. We're having a fantastic time.
So call us maybe.
424-256.
1729. All right, guys. You're going to tell it's going to be rowdy. It's going to be randy. We're going to have a great time. And stay tuned for a little bit later in the show. We're going to talk about the big news that we have the live.
So much news.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
After the final rose is going to be live. And they said they've only done it, twice before, right? Once before.
We'll hear about the first time.
7 years ago.
And who was involved in that? I think it was Krisily Kennedy.
Possibly.
Yes.
Possibly.
All right, so before we go any further, let's do a quick introduction. I'm JC, and like I said, this is the Bachelor After Show Season 8, Episode 8. And if you're watching us on AfterBuzzTV.com, what's up, guys? And if not, make sure to click on, we have a new podcast app for iTunes. If you click on it, it'll take you straight to all your podcast needs. And, of course, it does help keep the lights on if you leave us some comments, some questions, what you like, what you don't like. If you like the girls' jewel tones or this crazy guy who's always spouting off at the top of his voice and they tell him to shut up, I'm going to quit while I'm behind. And, of course, we got to say hi to Phil Svitek. What's up, Phil?
Hello, hello.
Okay, full of energy. I love it. All right.
I've got a surprise for you later.
Oh,
from
fantastic.
one of our fans.
Oh, I can't wait. So tune in for that later. But
Lots of teases.
a lot of teases. Plus, we get love at 200 miles an hour. We find out that Emily's a great shot. And Jeff makes all the girls in the studio cry.
Yeah, so true.
Okay,
Happy
guys.
tears.
What? No, these are happy tears, Phil. You gotta put like the harp one. Okay.
Okay.
That one.
There we go.
Lovey-dovey
And that
tears.
was for my introduction.
All right. Well, did we do introductions today?
Not yet.
Oh,
We're
my
working
gosh.
on
You've
it.
introduced
You've
yourself
introduced yourself twice.
Hi, I'm JC. Okay, third time. Okay, go ahead and introduce yourself, Miss Kelly.
Well, you already said my name. I'm Cathy Kelley.
The news never looked better than with Cathy Kelley. News in 2 minutes or less with Cathy Kelley. Boom. And of course, the lady to my left.
To your straight forward in front of you. It's good to be back, guys. I missed you last week, and it's Canden back at it. Ready to go.
All right. And of course, the Bachelor alum herself.
What's up, guys? Krisily Kennedy.
And we
Big
do,
girl chair. 2 weeks in a row. A little excited. Big girl chair.
And with that said, we got to say what's up to our homie.
We miss you, Jenna.
Jenna
Miss
Couture.
you, Jenna.
Jenna Times, our
Jenna
relation.
Time tweets.
Yes, if you're watching, make sure to tweet us, Jen. I'm sure you will. But let's get into it, guys.
We got lots.
A lot. Overall impressions. What did you guys think of this Final Four?
Well, I mean, we're always excited for hometowns. I mean, like you were saying when you came in, I don't know if you want to say your line that
Say
you said
it.
when you came in,
Say
but
it.
as soon as JC walked in, he's like, man, I'm just excited for this like Final Four because, you know, it's like a snooze fest until then. So, I mean, it's like you're so excited to see who's like at the end, and you kind of know in the middle who's not going to be in the Final Four. Like I think we've known for the past few weeks who's really going to be, you know, down to the nitty gritty. So I was excited to see kind of what their families are like. And I mean, I always like families.
What about you, Krisily? What did you think? Final Four. After this, we've been here now for 8 weeks.
I thought it was great. I agree. I love seeing their families, where they come from. It puts a lot into perspective. But I thought it was interesting that I knew who was going home immediately. Like I didn't even have to wait for some of the other dates. I knew who was going home immediately tonight, and that usually doesn't happen so much for me.
Really? You would think with your background you could pick them off like right off the bat. But.
Well, I feel like usually the person that they make look the most obvious is never the one. But tonight I think we saw who was going home immediately. I don't think there was any question.
They made like 3 kind of obvious,
But you
positive
guys,
ones.
but you two differed. You two differed on who you guys thought they were setting up. You
Yes,
thought
we did.
You
Yeah.
know, with
well,
your-
they were set. They ended up setting up.
They set
all
3
of them.
up,
I
yeah.
mean, the setup was inevitable for a few of them, but I think I was surprised that Sean was in the setup for like, you know, one of the potential real dudes.
All right, you could break the tie, Cathy Kelley.
I mean, I love seeing the hometown dates. I think meeting the family, like someone can go in there and say all this stuff about themselves, but once you meet the family, like that really solidifies what type of person they are, where they came from. And I really liked 2 of the hometown dates, and 2 of them were kind of a little bit boring to me. But
Okay.
we'll get into that.
All right, well then let's start off with our first victim. I mean, Bachelor. Sorry, Chris. We've had a lot of thoughts. Poor
Who didn't see this one coming?
Anyone? Did anyone not see it coming?
I said while we were watching that I could have taken Emily on a better Chicago date than Chris
Did that's right. Okay, so what went wrong on the date?
Well, they started in a very nice location by the water tower. It was.
You sound like an informer. They started.
No,
in-
I lived a block away from there, so that's like where everything happens. That was on Michigan Avenue, where like all the hustle and bustle is. Emily loves to shop, and he didn't take her shopping. And I mean,
Bad news.
Bad move.
yeah, she was
Get her some
2
new
blocks
Louboutins in
away
Chicago.
from the Chanel store, like all that stuff. And I don't know.
because she is a shoe girl. We know that.
Yes, she is.
And then
Because it says it with the devilish smile. Because you do have a shoe blog, right? So
I do have a shoe blog. So I compare people to shoes, and Emily is the perfect Louboutin. Like she is the epitome of a Louboutin, which amazes me. And she has the best shoes of any bachelorette by far that I've seen on television. And I thank the camera ops who are going down to her shoes every single scene so I can see them. It makes my heart so happy.
But you could not see them. Well, I guess it was a
No,
different-
not with the red.
Yeah, you couldn't see them on her Chicago date. You could not see it underneath her red pants. It was one of those like bell-bottom pants that covers just everything but your like townnail.
now that we've dissected the fashion and okay, so what was missing with Chris?
Everything.
Okay.
We agreed on something.
That's
Did
a
you hear that?
bachelorette first. They agree.
it sucked because his family was nice-ish, and I mean, they did tell her throughout the date, like, if he's not the one, let him go. If he's not the one, let him go.
Did they know? I think did they know that he was not the one?
No.
Do you think that? I mean,
No, because I think the dad
just like inside.
There was a
like-
communication barrier there.
and
We
the
talked
dad
about.
somehow I guess relayed to Chris the fact that he thought that Emily was in love with her. You guys talked about it while we were watching the show.
Yeah, that was bad.
And then that's when Chris ended up saying, "I'm falling in love with you."
Yeah.
And that was just like you could see the train wreck kind of happening. So
Well, because the dad asked if she felt love, and she said, well, I wouldn't be here if I didn't. She did not say she was in love with him or falling in love with him, and that is a big deal.
The
you
dad-
know, that's a big misconception.
The dad thought that she meant with Chris.
Yes.
And that's where it kind of
not
went
so
wrong.
much.
Which is why he was so shocked. I wasn't, but he was.
But I feel like he should have asked her. I mean, not that she can really reveal that kind of thing, but at least let her kind of lead you into saying those things. Not your dad, who is like hearsay, who has a communication barrier. I mean, kind of his own fault, I think.
I just he
We're
reminds
all kind of awkwardly silent.
No.
We're like, I don't even know.
No,
Just like their date.
yeah,
Yeah,
Exactly.
it was.
He reminds me of, and we've been saying it for weeks with Bachelor Band season. It was the Baton Girl. I forget her
Casey.
name.
Casey.
KCB.
KCB.
And I think I think age did have something to do with it because he hasn't had those experiences. He hasn't had his heart broken on national TV multiple times like some of these people on these shows. I'm just saying. But I mean, but he didn't know how to. You know, he wasn't ready for it. You know.
But there was nothing between them. Like, I'm still shocked that he got to Final Four. The first date is the only time I saw them with chemistry. That first night where they had that one-on-one where they were dancing, I saw the chemistry.
That was
agree
episode
again.
2. Was that episode
No.
2 or 3?
But I haven't seen it since.
I would disagree with that because today she said, I'm so happy that you came and pulled me aside at last week's rose ceremony. You know, that was so sweet for you to like apologize and realize, like, admit that you were wrong. That's a huge thing that I'm looking for in a husband. And she still gave him the googly eyes, like, that she liked him. Like, I feel like this entire season, she's liked him, but it was more of like, she just thinks he's kind of cute, and she developed bigger connections with the other guys. I don't know.
I just see a spark and a chemistry between her and Ari, and her and Jeff, and even her and Sean. That with Chris, I just didn't see it all. It was awkward for me watching them, like really awkward.
Now, you were saying you're surprised he lasted this long.
Totally.
Was there anyone else you think deserved that spot more than Chris?
No.
It was just
No.
I mean, like Wolf,
Yeah.
no.
I just feel like from the beginning, Ari and Jeff have been so strong, and Sean's just such a great guy that you just want to see him do well because you just want to root for him, you know. But I feel like those three guys have been strong. I could have done without the rest of the guys for a while now and just have these three and let these three relationships develop.
That was exactly what I was going to say. I wish they could have skipped weeks, maybe 4 through 7.
Yeah.
And get to these final 4. Honestly, I think we all knew, and now it's exciting. Now I'm in it. I can't wait to find out who she ends up picking, because we don't know.
Yeah.
No, we don't know.
And this is a first. Usually all
is.
the spoilers no one knows. So
Although my dad swears that it's Ari. Swears, like, on his life. So we'll see.
Oh, that's on air now. So oh boy. So well, let's move on to the other dates, because Chris, great guy. It's done deal. Let's move on to skeet shooting Jeff with 1 F in
That was
St. George,
exciting.
Utah.
Like, I was not on the Team Jeff train for, like, this whole time. And I'm not, like, totally on it, but I do think that he won me over today just as him and his, like, lifestyle. The fundamental things about his family, I don't know how they mesh with her. But, I mean, I think it fit in a way. You know what I mean?
We talked about it slightly last week about with his Mormon background, and that he's not necessarily practicing it per se.
Right.
But I've always mentioned I've interacted with many Mormons, and they tend to, as you age and as you want that family, you end up going back to the faith. It's not absolute, but I like I said, I wonder if that's going to happen. If that's going to be the big like.
Well, he's like still in that young entrepreneur phase, so I think that's why it's easy for him to be the rebel in a way, but. If he really gets married and settles down, I think it'll be easy for him to revert to that and to feel like, oh, my family's around and we have lots of kids, and then they're all going to be like influencing their lives, right? Do you agree?
It kind of seemed, though, like his siblings practiced the faith more than he did. And I don't know, I know one of them, the brother was older than him, but I didn't know whether the sisters were older or younger. And it just seemed like they were more involved with, you know.
I think that's the big elephant in the room. I think the faith. But outside
they didn't
of that,
really talk about it. I mean,
I'm so surprised about. Yeah, we had that one quote where
bring it up. But yeah,
Jeff said about his parents not being there. We all knew that they were on a mission trip in South Carolina, but he said in the quote, they're in South Carolina doing their charity work, and charity work was clearly dubbed in for whatever
work.
he actually said.
It was I'll tell you, on their mission work. So
it was just interesting why the producers chose to do that.
I don't know if we could find that out. If you guys can tweet us, chat roll. If you guys know, we know you guys are good at that.
Maybe they're kind of avoiding just the issue in general.
They haven't mentioned,
but Emily has to know as well, and I feel like she. And I've said this before, I don't think religion's an issue in a marriage. I think that two people, no matter which religions they come from, can raise a family with the knowledge of having both of those religion and that child. And I don't see that as an issue or a deal breaker.
We don't, but I think Jeff or his family might. If he comes from that culture,
she would have to.
His family was so supportive of her.
She would have to convert, though. If they got I feel like if they got married, she would have to 100% embrace that. That's just kind of how their culture works.
I think that his siblings would be more accepting of her not converting, but his parents might have an issue just because. I mean, I feel like older generations seem to care more about religion than
because they're
our
really
generation.
Involved. Just Mormons in general, the church is their life and their culture. So it's going to be hard for her to not accept that and still fit in with their life.
We'll see.
I don't know.
I wish the parents would have been there.
That's the one little deal breaker I see where I think Jeff may make it to final 2, but I don't think that it'll be.
But it was a fun date.
Totally.
He was in that,
It's so
the
much
best
fun.
date
that
ever.
Odyssey. I want it. I want to go like, I don't know where I could find it. If I could like, I don't know, Amazon, anywhere. If I could just.
Do you want to know about Amazon? Because I can tell you a secret.
Okay, go ahead.
Just for AfterBuzz TV people though, so you can't tell anybody.
I can get that Odyssey. I can get that 4x4.
Yeah, but you can't tell anybody where you got it.
AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
Kick it to me.
Okay, we all know that I love shopping, and obviously I will shop anywhere, including online. So if you go to AfterBuzzTV.com, there's an Amazon banner, and if you click the link on the Amazon banner, you get to go purchase straight from Amazon. It helps us. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it helps us with all of this stuff that we have here. So if you're gonna shop on Amazon, just do it through AfterBuzz first.
Cool. So I can buy like one of those 4-wheelers.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I felt like a little kid. I'm sorry.
It was
You're acting like a little kid.
because it was awesome.
Date. This was one of the coolest dates I've seen on Bachelor by far. Like
Yeah.
this is a date I would go on.
Absolutely.
The
Cool.
And I
four-wheeling,
love
the
that
shooting.
he potentially planned it, or
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
thought this whole thing through. I was really surprised that he lived on a ranch. I just did not.
Really?
I
don't
didn't think that.
I don't know
Or-
that they live there permanently, or if that's just like their family ranch
Mm-hmm.
that they kind of
It was
go
the
to.
homestead ranch.
And it was perfect. It was like picture perfect. Where when he and his
Everything.
brother were sitting on the chair and
The
they're
log
like-
cabin.
Yes, it was. Literally, it was out of a book. But one thing I wanted to say. Let's talk about the poem he wrote. Oh my gosh. This is where the girls were crying.
I cried. Like
I know you
tears.
did.
He messed up my makeup. Like
Mine
I
too.
cried. I haven't cried on this show in a long time.
It was really sweet. And it felt really genuine. I mean, as awkward as it is having cameras around trying to have that moment, I think he did a good job.
And Ryan was the only other one this season who's really written her notes. So that was a huge step up from that.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like so sincere. And I mean, she said it the best. That's the sweetest thing that anyone's ever said to her. And
Sucks that she can't say anything back. Like, it's
But-
so awkward.
I was, since Jenna's not here, I was trying to pay attention to a lot of the body language, like how they would kiss, how they would interact. And I noticed when they kissed that she really reached back and got the back of his neck and just really went for it. And so, so there's passion there.
Too. She cried too. Like she was really moved by it. And as awkward as he is, like the things that he says is what every girl wants to hear. Like he feels very comfortable. He feels like someone that you just know even through watching him. You know,
I got a
he's just-
boner.
Excuse me?
No, it's just a little glitch. We can fix it on iTunes later. So now, with that said, okay,
I don't know what just happened.
don't worry about it, Canden. We implemented it
sound
last
effect.
week.
Oh, thanks for implementing something like that while I'm gone. Good
Don't
one.
worry, we'll keep
Good
you
one,
we'll keep you abreast of
friend.
the situation in future episodes. Okay,
Maybe I'll bring ice cream. I can put it on you and eat it off your body.
you know.
What is happening?
No, it's part of okay.
This is what happens when the
Phil's-
virgin leaves the
I
show.
can't
No, not at all.
stop
It's
laughing.
well, Bachelor's
The
trying to spread their wings.
22-year-old virgin is in the house.
Thank you, Bobby Capel. Okay, that sounds like that was Bobby Capel, one of our old hosts. There we go. Sounds just like Chris Hansen from Dateline.
I'm so confused.
Canden is confused. We're not. We're gonna just tell. It's just some new effects we're putting in at AfterBuzz.
Oh, that's
Just
good.
trying them out.
yeah. Okay, since we're on that touching moment, wow, leave that alone. But when she grabbed his neck and they had that moment, what if it's not true? What if she doesn't pick him? I mean, how is that supposed to feel? I mean, how can she do that? How can they have that type of interaction and she not pick him?
Well,
Pick Jeff.
We heard in the promos for next week, she says she's falling in love with multiple people.
Okay, how is that possible? How do you fall in love with two people at the same time?
I've never tried it, so I don't know.
I mean, it's
Can you-
possible.
Can you answer that, Krisily? How can you've been on this show before?
Yeah,
Did
but
he-
I wasn't the Bachelorette. But I mean, in the situation and the circumstances, like I can see how you could have feelings for two different people.
You've
You've never been in a position in your life where there's been two people that you've been interested in and have had feelings for both of them and not known which way to go. You've never been in that situation
Guilty,
in your
guilty,
life.
guilty, guilty.
Because your
I've
face
never-
right now, for those who aren't watching, shows me that you have.
Guilty.
I
He's
could say
turning
that
red.
So tell me, JC, how do you fall in love with two people?
Every day of his life.
Latin lover? I don't know.
Happen.
God
can
dang
happen.
it! You're right. You turned it on me, and you're right.
I love you.
I love you too. It's happening right now. Okay.
I thought you loved me.
I
He
love
loves
you.
both of you.
Yes.
This is the point.
Okay. So okay. Why do we get the buzzer, Phil? I have 3 of the hottest women on this planet in with me. It's easy to fall in love with all 3. But you're my first choice, Phil. Okay.
Continuing.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Now, but seriously, like, okay, you turned it on me. You just blew my whole segment out of the water that you can fall in love with 2 people at the same time. Cathy Kelley, can you fall in love with 2 people at the same time?
I have never fallen in love with 2 people at the same time. I feel like you can like 2 people at the same time, but I don't know that you can be in love with 2 people at the same time.
Maybe she just doesn't know, like, the depth, like the depth. Like, maybe she has to just judge which ones really love and which ones really like.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just hard, and she feels like it's both love, but in the end, she's going to pick the one that she loves the most, right?
Well, if they're both perfect up to a point, or all 3 of them are perfect up to a point, it's hard to choose. Like, they're not giving you a reason not to love them.
It's not love.
And look at the 3 of us. The 4 of us. We're all confused about who she should pick.
Wait, it's not love?
It's not love.
What is it?
It's infatuation.
She's in like with all of them.
Well, because you can't fall. Can you fall in love with 2 people in 6 weeks? Love. I think it's one of those love line like doctors. They talk. It takes about 1.5 years of actually being with someone to know, really, to make a secure decision.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that either. But
Not
I would
at all.
say love is one of those things where you know that even after, like, if you never saw that person again, you would still care about them. You'd still love them. And I feel like that's where it kind of like takes a little bit longer.
Well, you
to
can have
figure
many
out.
loves then.
You can. And I think that you can, and I think that when someone that they'll always have a space in your heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But to be in love.
You don't have to be 1.5 years to be in love with
Yeah.
somebody. That's BS.
Go ahead.
We're using my big girl pants.
Okay.
It's BS. It's just not. That's baloney. Like you can fall in love with somebody. It's
everlasting
comfort.
love. They're going to be together
Yeah.
for 80 years.
Yeah, I think you can. I don't think it takes
You
a year.
can, but I mean that's slim and none.
It's once you're out of that honeymoon phase, you kind of like, what is it, the 3-month mark where you kind of get to see the person's true colors, then that's when you really start being able to fall in love.
I think you might think that you're in love, and it may eventually get to that point. But at that, 6-week mark, I don't know that it is love, but it could absolutely grow into it and in a while, and it could just be like, yes, we fell in love in 3 months or whatever. And then it seems like you fell in love, but really the lasting part of it took longer to like reinforce your infatuation.
This is your
Does that
fault,
make sense?
Krisily.
In
It's
this
your fault, Krisily. You
situation-
know that.
Why is it my fault?
Because you've told us this. When you go on these dates and you go into all these locations.
In this situation,
it's intoxicating.
it is. And I'm saying in real life. In real life, I don't think it takes 1.5 years to fall in love. I think you can fall in love with someone in 6 weeks in real life. Outside of cameras, private jets, Aruba, Jamaica, wherever else they go. Outside of that in real life, yes. In her situation, I think it's a little bit of both. I think she's got 3 awesome guys, but I also think that she's been doing amazing things with all of them. So how do you not fall in love with them? It's when real life sets in that it gets confusing, and I think that's what's confusing her.
She's trying to
falling in
put
love
them
with-
there, like.
Yeah, she's falling in love with Prague and with Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
And
Well, right. Well, let's move on. Let's move on to Ari. Let's move on to. We haven't talked about Ari yet.
Quick little observation
Sure.
about the Dolly Parton thing. Like, that made me think, what about the memories? Like, she's going to have a lot of memories from this whole experience and from the things that she did. And I know it's hard for me if I have had experiences with someone that I've dated. Like, even though I don't want to date them anymore, it's almost like you want to still look at that memory as something positive and wonderful. So, like, if she didn't end up with Ari, then she still wants to remember the day that she met Dolly Parton. And so it's, like, hard to separate yourself from that. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Like, would that be an issue for anybody? I'm just like the weird one in the room.
I mean,
here.
it's, you look back on it and you're still happy about it, but that person may not be, in your life anymore.
Right.
Yeah, you remember with a smile on your face. It was a wonderful time with a wonderful person, and just leave it at that. But I wanted to bring up Ari for a reason. No. I wanted to bring up Ari for a reason. Well, because not only because he's the next one-on-one, but when she was talking to her to Ari's dad, I believe, and he asked her, "What is it? What about your son? What about my son? What do you feel?" She said his sense of humor and who he is, and
His mom.
Was it? It was the mom. Okay. And she seems to say that on all the dates, but what I'm not hearing is it's how he makes me feel. It's how I feel when I'm with him.
She doesn't say that about anyone.
Okay. For me, that's a red flag. Because it's love. It's how do I feel with this person?
She
It's
might
not
have
about my sense of humor. It's not about he's so nice, he's so cute. Yes, that's great on the surface, but it's how I feel.
I feel like she might have said that and the producers cut it because they
Right.
don't want it to be too obvious who she chooses.
Hogwash. All right. I want to know.
Sorry to burst your bubble.
Yeah, I do. I feel like she probably said that as well somewhere along the line, but I think that we only get to see so much.
All right. Okay.
And I also think with parents, the first time you meet them and there's cameras and the parents know there's 3 other guys, not that Emily's a sugarcoater because we've clearly seen that she's not, but I think that you want to go as light as you can with them on this meeting because what if that is the person you're sending home?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, and with Ari's family, he kind of warned her that
they weren't going to like her.
You're going to have to impress my mom. That's a huge,
But don't be nervous
fear.
or anything.
Yeah.
I was told that once by someone.
I was too.
That moms don't,
And did it work out well for either one of you?
Oh, I went over great.
Yeah, me too.
Mom loves me.
Gosh, and they're cocky,
Well,
and they're cocky
Mom
too.
loved her. I mean,
Yeah,
I think
she did.
Ari didn't even really. I mean, maybe we didn't see it, but it didn't look like he preheated her that much. It looked like they just talked, and she's like, "I can just tell."
How rude! Okay, I already said it. How rude
Oh my
was it?
gosh!
When,
Can't take it back now.
I know I can't. No take
How
backs.
rude!
How rude was it when Ari and the whole family are together and Emily's right there and they just start going speaking the Deutsch? They just
So
start.
rude. JC and I wrote that down at the same time.
Everyone
How
did.
rude! I can't. I've been in that situation before, and it's so. Like, you almost want to slap the person you're with. Like, are you kidding me? Do not do that. That's so awkward and rude on the first time you're meeting a family.
Well, will Emily also think of that? Well, are they going to pull that card on me?
Yeah.
She's going to feel a little
Inferior.
in the family, and that could go into her decision as well. Somewhat. I mean, if she loves the guy, she loves the guy. But I'm just saying, if she's on the fence, these type of things. How are they going to be with Ricki? If Ricky's different, are they going to be speaking a different language with my daughter? Yeah. All that stuff comes
I thought
into play.
that was a little bit of a surprise awkwardness in the Ari relationship. Like, I don't know that it's a deal breaker, but I do think that it was a little bit awkward dynamic.
Out of the 4 dates, she seemed the least comfortable at Ari's house.
Yeah. Which surprising. But he did speak up and he did say that it was awkward and that it was uncomfortable and that they shouldn't do it for the rest of the night. So he did do the manly thing and the right thing. But it was, she was not happy.
And they said nice stuff.
We think.
Yeah, I mean, he said.
And she was dressed. She was dressed a little more formal on that date out of all 4 of them. Mm-hmm. And she's West Virginia. She loved country, She's down home, and speaking of down home,
Code rat
The
backwards.
dad said, like, I like her little southern accent or whatever. That was funny.
in the Deutsch.
I don't know how to do that accent.
You don't know? Oh, I'll teach you later.
Okay.
But
I can't understand anything you're saying.
sorry, Phil. No. All right, let's move on to who's left? Is it Sean?
Sean.
Wait, are we really done with Ari? I guess
Do you guys
so.
want to? What do you guys think about
Oh,
Ari?
we didn't talk about the race car thing.
Hey, let's talk about the race car
The race
stuff.
car thing. I was curious how she would react, like really on the racetrack and everything, and she didn't even bring up anything negative, anything sad. It was all positive, which I was glad to see that she could do that.
Well, and she said that a couple times that her memories of racing are great, and some of the best parts of her life were around the track. And I think that she's closed that door, and she's okay with it now. So I knew that wouldn't be an issue, but it was really cool to see her in the race car because, like we had talked about, she's obviously been in other race cars before, but not the Indy car. So I mean, that the adrenaline had to be amazing.
I think you guys were more excited than Emily was, or just excited.
I was so excited.
Plus her hair. You guys, oh my God, her hair.
I don't understand how
had
her
on,
hair
like-
was perfect after she took off that helmet.
And like that
Perfect.
smoosh thing that they put underneath the helmet.
head.
Tell me your ways. I
helmet
don't
head.
get it.
They shot it early. They shot
No,
the
they
exit
didn't.
I don't
early.
believe it.
No.
I don't believe it.
She just
I
has
think so.
great
I don't
hair.
believe it.
There's obviously a makeup person
Really?
right there doing final touches.
You come off, take off the helmet, and it just like it pops open, it poofs
They
open.
didn't have a curling iron in the middle of the racetrack.
You never know.
Come on.
Come on. They've spent more money. How much have they spent on her clothes?
$350,000. Actually, they went over budget on that. So
They've never done anything like that. They were really pushing Emily. So come on, they wanted no.
I don't
Chris,
believe it.
I'm getting shot down by
She
Krisily.
just has great
I
hair.
like her better on the couch. But
Oh, demoted.
I love you.
yikes.
It's okay. I can take it.
No. Oh, okay, so you guys loved Ari. Okay, let's move on to Sean, the boy who still lives at home. I wouldn't have gone with that.
That was a bad one.
Yeah, because the girls were like, no.
I was like really creeped out for a second and so disappointed.
Yeah, you thought I knew you were gonna write him off right then.
Well, because he kind of, it actually kind of would make sense to me. Like if it hadn't been so staged, like looking, I would have believed it totally. Because he has that like young Bachelor Pad kind of look.
Naive,
I don't know.
Perhaps.
He still looks like he's in college or something.
Yeah, I knew when I saw the cookie that it was a joke.
Yeah, because nobody,
Like,
his mom's
he
not
hasn't
gonna
been
leave a
home in
cookie.
how long? He's been on the road all this time. They don't let you stay at home while you're doing your hometown. You still go to your hotel. You're still sequestered from the time that you get there to the time that you leave. So, in what time did the cookie's been there for 3 months and his mom didn't clean it? Come on.
That's just why we
come
love you.
on.
Because you know the schedule. You know how they do this.
Yeah,
so.
he went right back to the hotel.
But they did 2 pranks on her. We saw at the end of the episode that they actually pretended to feed her cooked armadillo at dinner.
I really hope that was not a real armadillo because that would be gross.
You never. I don't think it was canon, but
She doesn't, I feel like she takes the joke thing kind of like I would. Like a little bit like not knowing what to do. She looks like super stunned even when she knows it's a joke. Like, oh,
you mean like our sound effects?
Yeah, kind of. Like I don't really know what's going on, and you just get silent, and you're like, okay, this is funny.
She's the most polite person ever.
Totally.
Though.
But
Like,
that's how I react to that kind of
She
stuff.
just wears her heart on her sleeve, but she's trying to be that proper Southern belle that's like so accommodating of everyone's choices, whether they're off the wall.
Oh, that's fine.
So, no, but that's room for growth, perhaps, because Sean is a very straight-laced. Like literally, he is like. I'm gonna say this. I'm very comfortable here. The guy's a beautiful man.
Totally.
He is.
He's just his family, just the way he was brought up. You can tell they just did it right. They seem like they're from a time where they're from another age, and I'm not saying this in a bad way. They're perfect.
She was so comfortable there. It was amazing.
She said perfect about 50 times.
Do you think she, in the end, that could also maybe have her hesitate a bit?
Big time.
We talked about that, how it was just so vanilla. He's so perfect. And I mean, like, I know from experience, like, I dated a guy who was so perfect to me, and you're complacent and you're happy, you're content, but you're always wanting something more, and it breaks your heart because
there's nothing wrong
with them, and
it just doesn't work.
It's not fair, yeah.
And I say that I love Sean. Of course, he's a boxer lover like me. Lola made my dogs look really bad tonight, so Sean, we're gonna have to talk. But he's an amazing, amazing man. Like you can tell his values, his foundation, everything about him is amazing. I just don't see him with Emily because I feel like Emily needs just a little bit more spark. And I know that there's probably a lot of Sean that we don't see, but I just feel like he's just not rough enough.
Well, could it be the same thing that happened to Emily on Brad's season? Because everyone thought Emily was rather vanilla. Remember? And you said yourself, so it could
totally
be
different. Could be. You're right.
I'm channeling Jenna right now, but it was so nice to see Sean's playful side this week.
Continue, Miss Jenna Time. And now, Jenna Time Tweets by Cathy Kelley. Yeah, okay, so, but I don't think Jeff is more. It's not like Jeff is like Sean 2.0. No offense to Sean, I'm just saying he's got the good values. He's a straight laced, good guy, but he's got that 2% of kind of like
badass.
And I think Emily will
it'll just
gravitate
be
to
like
that.
which decision, like which direction she chooses. Like the more like fun, kind of like exciting, iffy in a way route, and then or just like exactly what you're gonna get and when you're gonna get it and what's it gonna be like.
Sean's like the business shoes with the little tassels on the front, the little leather ones that everybody wears, and Jeff's the Converse.
Yeah,
like
I love Converse.
And that's what it is. It's comfort. It's what you know. It's what you always go to. It's like it's he's just comfort and cute.
Have you ever like looked back on ex-boyfriends and thought, I'd love to take a piece of this, piece of this, and so it's like I'd love to take Jeff's like sincerity and like Sean's body and his like morals and values and Ari's wall kisses.
JC, are we
Ari's
boring?
passion.
No, you're not. No, actually, I can't believe you just said that. Because see, if guys say that, we're like, oh, you're so bad in thinking that.
Why?
Well, but she. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. No. I'm just gonna say, if guys say that, it's bad. But now, so it's neat to know that actually girls think the same way.
My girlfriends say that all the time.
Yeah. Double standard.
Now see that? That's the kind of winning attitude that's going to take this enterprise straight to the top.
All right, so we've gone through all 4 of these dates, and we're still we know about Chris, but we're still just as confused as we were at the beginning of this episode on who she's going to pick. Yeah. So let's take a quick break, gather ourselves, and come back with our special segment about After the Rose Live news, predictions, gossip, and Phil's special surprise, I guess. AfterBuzz TV.
Scared.
Hey there, good buddies. The handle's Woolly Bear. I'm a truck driving man, but I'm not that old school kind of truck driving man, no. I like to listen to podcasts while I'm driving through these great United States of ours. And my favorite podcasts in the world are from AfterBuzz TV. And why? Because AfterBuzz TV is like a post-game wrap-up show for all your favorite TV shows. Like Jersey Shore, Dancing with the Stars, Mad Men, and a whole truckload more. I like listening to my Gossip Girl podcast, catching up with all my fellow fans and getting all the latest news and gossip. No, I got some strong opinions. And AfterBuzz TV lets me share those opinions with thousands of other listeners. Woo-wee, what a feeling. I used to doze off on those lonely stretches of road. And don't worry, I got the cruise control. But now I'm wide awake and listening to all the AfterBuzz TV goodness. Check them out, give them a holler, and tell them the old Woolly Bear sent you.
All right, and we're back as Ken takes a picture of herself.
No, I was checking and making sure I didn't have hair in weird places.
You look marvelous. You look fantastic. All right.
Grazie.
All right, we're back for our special segment. All right. After the Rose, as we all know, is now live.
It's crazy.
Yes.
3 hours.
Yes.
We are going to be we are definitely doing PJ night.
You're going to do PJ that night?
And they haven't done a live finale since Charlie O'Connell's season, which Krisily was on 7 years ago.
When TVs were black and white.
I probably didn't want you to say 7.
When TVs were black and white.
Okay, so what's going to be different about it? You know, because you went through this live, the whole experience. How much time?
I'm still not sold on the fact that she hasn't already picked someone. Because I've read like 3 different articles and I keep trying to read it and they're being so careful on how they word it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm still not sold that she hasn't picked anyone because all it's saying, there's a couple that say the 3-hour live finale and then there's a couple that say live after the Rose special, which would mean she already picked somebody. So it would be a little bit different than what we did. But either way, that live show was the longest day of my life. Like the longest day of my life. Like from early in the morning, the producers were in my hotel room getting ready and I had to leave my family and it was just like the longest day ever. So either way, that's going to be a long day.
Aside from, was it a difficult day?
You know, the difference between my season and these seasons, which is why I'm not so sold that she hasn't already picked someone, was that we saw each other. There was like a 2.5-month period while the show was airing. We got to text and have phone calls and emails, and we got to see each other twice. And that was, you know, which is why I think some of the relationships don't work on the show, is because when I got back to my real life is when I realized that Charlie didn't fit. You know, like Charlie's an awesome guy. We could go to the game. We could play basketball. We could, you know what I mean? Like he's a cool dude, but he didn't fit in my life and I didn't fit in his. So I kind of went into the finale being totally okay if he didn't pick me. And that's not the reaction that any of the viewers want to see. They want to see that person be heartbroken and upset. And I was just really okay with it.
And in that on the other side of the coin, he and Sarah, I guess, grew closer together in those 3 months. Was like the heart was, what is it when the heart misses you, it grows fonder or something?
Absence makes the heart
Thank
grow
you.
fonder.
Yeah. Well, when we left, I believe it was Montauk. When we left Montauk, he came up to us at the hotel and was like, I can't make a decision. I don't know how I feel yet. Okay. And at that moment, I thought it was me. And I'm sure Sarah thought it was her too. But even through some of our conversations at the beginning, and we went to Mexico, I still thought it was me. And he'd say things off camera that led me to believe that it was me. And then as the time went by, it was less phone calls, and it's just like regular dating. There's less phone calls, there's less texting, and it's all of a sudden you're like, yeah, he's just not that into me.
Yeah.
And it was okay because I felt the same way. It was, you know, he was awesome and I liked him, but once I got back to real life, I realized that he took me to places that I had never been, and he, like I've said before, gave me my security back in a relationship because I was not feeling great about relationships, and he showed me that I needed to set my bar higher, which was good.
See, now you mentioned something interesting that with that time apart, that the relationships change. They change,
Yes.
and now we have 3 guys left, and I think what I'm gathering here, I maybe my assumption that we think that Sean might not be one of the final two. It seems like it's more like Jeff and Ari. And I'm just
I mean, it'll depend on. I think the next. I think it'll depend on the next date.
Of course. But I'm saying now, who do you think would have the greatest chance of having everlasting love, Ari or Jeff? In let's say that gap. Let's say there's that 3-month gap. Who would she miss more? Who would she start seeing as a friend, perhaps?
I say.
Go on. It's tough.
I was gonna say Ari just seems like lust, and Jeff seems like love.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion. And
I think Jeff could potentially turn into friend.
I love Jeff. I want her to be with Jeff. That's who I would like her to pick. But I think
Ari's got the passion and the it keeps her exciting and it keeps her into it. I think Jeff could get really just sweet and friendly.
If there's ever a point of vulnerability for Jeff and Emily not working out, it's right now, this gap. And I think because they have such that friendship bond, which is great for love as well. You have to have that friendship on fire thing. But if
friendship on fire, I like that.
Yeah, but if there's a chance for Ari to creep back in, I think now this time apart
and it could happen. Look at Jason. Jason picked Melissa in the end and came back after the final rose and said, "I it's not you." It was that time that he spent away from her where he realized. And he did the best thing in the world. He has an amazing wife, and Melissa has an awesome husband. Yeah. So it worked out. But it does. You spend that time apart, and real life sets in, and it hits you, and you learn things that you didn't necessarily know while you were there.
That's when you learn who you're in love with.
Totally.
Right now, it's she may love them, she may care for them, but that's when you realize who you're in love with. When you're not around them, who you're still thinking about, and who you care about. And I don't know. I think that this is actually an amazing opportunity for her, because she'll find out whether she likes, or is in love with the 3 of the guys or doesn't love the 3 of the guys. And not that she's wasting our time, but she'll, I feel like we see the progression of these relationships after the shows kind of commenced. Sure. And a lot of them break up at the 6-month mark, at the year mark. It just doesn't work out. And she'll know now, or she'll have a better sense of who
if they really are on hiatus and going home and that kind of thing.
Well, then so
we don't really know.
We don't know, and that's the great thing of what they did. See, we're talking about it, so I can't wait till July 22nd.
Everybody's like, what's gonna happen?
I'm so excited.
So with that said, let's move on to some quick 2-minute news of Bachelor bits. What you got for us, Cathy Kelley?
AfterBuzz TV News.
Well, we already talked about the huge live finale, but the day after the finale is the premiere of Bachelor Pad 3, and I know we've talked about
that was painful.
Yeah, we've talked about Bachelor Pad 3 on the show, and they mentioned that there's still one guy who's, we don't know who he is.
A mystery contestant.
A mystery guy. Yes, but we've all speculated that it's Chris, and I'm sure tomorrow they will announce that it is Chris, since he's been eliminated
from the show.
I bet
he's gonna punch a hole in the wall.
Unless it's Jeff.
Oh,
just kidding.
really?
He was
Krisily?
tweeting the whole time.
He's been tweeting. Ari's been tweeting.
I saw
Sean's
a really
tweeting.
sexy picture of Jeff with some new sunglasses on. That was really cute.
We know it's Chris.
So we know it's Chris?
The producer should just say it now, but I'm sure they will within the next 48 to 72 hours.
Because we've already leaked it for them.
Next topic. What else we got in news?
I believe that's it.
I got one for you.
Oh,
Quick
you
one.
do?
Uh-oh. A sleeper.
We have win a chance for a date with Ryan Bowers.
What?
Yes, hold your applause. I know, Ryan Bowers, that's right, the guy that we all, well, not me, but you guys really love to hate.
Yeah.
Yes, there was a silent auction to win a date with Ryan Bowers in Georgia. And all the proceeds went to a girl, she was a Georgia grad who was suffering from a flesh-eating bacteria.
Oh, wow.
So,
I heard about that.
Yeah, and you had a chance of, whoever won the date with him could go on a one-on-one or do a group date, bachelor style. So, and we're finding out.
What ended up happening?
I don't know yet. I don't know. I haven't gone on a date yet, so I'll let you guys know hopefully in the next few weeks.
You haven't gone on a date yet?
No, we have not. No. It's our bromance.
JC and Ryan.
Ryan also did another really charitable thing last week, and he went to Vegas with his boys and judged a swimsuit competition.
Way to undercut
Helping
him.
out. Helping out in the community, you know.
He was, yes, it was at Wet Republic. Yes, he was the judge of a bikini. Hey, those are the perks of being a Bachelor guy. Hey, I ain't gonna hate on you,
I don't
Ryan.
even think he's news anymore.
You didn't get, okay. With that said, that's it for news, and let's move on to some predictions.
I got something for you.
What's that? Oh, our prediction song. Yay.
No, he
No.
He
I
has
got
some more
something for you.
news?
Well, it's kind of news.
Okay.
We here at AfterBuzz TV, a lot of you fans have been saying, hey, we want to not just email you or comment and things like that. We want to send you stuff. I don't know what stuff it is, but we have a P.O. box now. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com/, I believe, contact, and check it out. Or just go to AfterBuzz TV and click the contact link. That'll get you there, and you'll see the P.O.
So
box.
we got a present?
Nice.
No, we
Not
didn't get
yet.
a
No,
present
not yet.
Oh.
No,
But-
that's
But
incoming.
people want to send you presents.
We love people
Send me
water
present. I
and
like just because presents.
Team Jeff shirts.
Now, your AfterBuzz TV.
You all know Canden likes presents, so please send them according
Just because presents.
There we go, just because presents. Okay.
Special presents.
Predictions. Predictions. Krisily, let's start with you.
Those presents.
Let's start
I
with
mean,
you
there's
since
some
you're holding the
expensive
shoe up,
presents.
Krisily. What do you think?
Hope it doesn't smell.
Who's going home next week?
I have no idea. I feel like this is the first time in Bachelor history that I have no idea who's going home next week. And even seeing the promos for next week, don't look at me like that. I know, it's horrifying. It is.
Come on, you're like the Bachelor insider.
This is the first time, I think, in Bachelor history where I'm this confused.
Yeah.
And even the promos for next week, she legitimately looks happy and
All three.
giggly with all of them.
All right, Canden, will you come on? Canden, I need an
agree.
opinion.
I agree, but I'll throw you an opinion because that's who I am.
Yeah, how can we be lovers if we can't be friends? Come on, I value your opinion.
Friends, lovers, or nothing.
There we go.
You know, I think it's gonna be Sean. I think that's the outlier, just a little bit. I mean, she could totally surprise me, but I just think that she's really, really intrigued by Jeff and Ari, unless one of them does something stupid.
Okay, so Sean, you are saying Sean.
Yes, because then I can have him. So
Okay.
I'd
Want
be
some
okay with
Cathy
that.
Kelley? Come on, bring it in. Who's going home?
I just feel like something's different about this season. Like, I know we don't have the overnight dates, so something's just gonna be weird about next episode. I don't know.
Thank you for all your wonderful predictions, ladies.
I gave you
I
sort
don't
of
know.
one. I gave you a half one,
Yeah.
like a wimpy high five.
It's
Makes
been
it better this way when you don't know. It's more fun.
like a
so
handshake like
exciting.
this.
See, so we've been all season. We're like, gosh, when's it gonna get good?
It's
Right
good.
now.
It's
Right
good.
now.
It's
good.
Here.
great. All right, so we're getting the hook, guys. So, Cathy, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Catherine Kelley.
I said Krisily.
You can find me on Twitter at Krisily.
At Canden Bliss.
And you can find me at The Everyday Man. So if you're staying with us on AfterBuzzTV.com, make sure to stay tuned for the next episode of Glass House. For Phil, Krisily, Cathy, Canden, I'm JC. We're The Bachelor After Show. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.